Welcome everyone, here we are in GA Natural. When we watch the news and see these massive wildfires spreading through a forest, what do we normally look at? In most cases, the giant flames from the wildfire, the smoke filling up the entire sky, and trees burning down, right? We think about the poor animals running away and people's houses in danger. And yeah, pretty much all of it is super terrifying. But today, I want us to look down, like literally right our feet. Because one of the biggest problems we're actually passing through is wildfire when in the ground, right? On the soil. You might think the dirt is just dead dirt, right? But it's actually a living, breathing organism.
How do you think the soil is affected when you're in wildfire? Like, how the soil? So the soil is part of, we were talking about the relative humidity, yes, which has to do with how much water is in the soil, which is how much water is in the plant. So that is all part of the relative humidity, and what is also moisture and the dead fuel moisture. And so the water has to do with how fast the plant will burn when the fire gets there. So you have to remove all the water before anything will burn. And so it has a lot to do with it. So if we have a drought, then it will burn much faster because there's a lot less water. Versus if we have recent rains, then there's a lot more water on the ground and there's a lot more water in the fuels. So it's a lot less likely.
Okay, a study published in Science Direct shows that wildfires trigger long-term complex threats to the soil biodiversity and continue for several years. The article says that fires promote multiple changes in the soil composition, and research shows that they cause what professionals call soil hazards. To understand soil organisms, this means that even if the heat doesn't kill the bugs and worms intestinally, it severely disrupts their population and communities because of climate change. Things are getting worse since we're seeing hotter temperatures and severe droughts everywhere. This completely dries out the dirt, kills off the trees, and creates the perfect recipe for massive wildfires to spark. It creates this terrible cycle that just keeps repeating over and over. The planet warms up, the soil dries out, bigger fires burn, and those fires release tons of carbon back into the air. This makes the air even more harder due to the greenhouse effect, where gases like carbon dioxide and methane trap heat into the atmosphere and continue to warm the air and dry more the plants. It's a loop, and when these fires get going, they completely change the chemistry and biology of the earth beneath it.
So let's talk about hydrophobic soil and what happens to the dirt during a fire. Research from the Wildfire Forestry Center of America, WFCA, explained that when severe slow-moving ground fires burn away the plants, they release organic gases from the burning plant. The article says that it creates this organic compound that travel into the upper part of the mineral soil and cannot precipitate. Is this what's the substance and it makes it impervious to water. This creates what scientists call hydrophobic water, basically a repellent from the soil. Hydrophobic basically means that the soil became terrified of water, like a waterproof rain jacket. This specific chemical reaction happens when the temperatures hits a crazy range of 100 to 176 to 180 degrees, around 350 to 550 degrees Fahrenheit. At this heat, the composition of the soil changes, creating a solid barrier. Think about it, what happens when it rains on a normal day, where water seconds feeds the roots and keeps the ground healthy, right? But when soil becomes hydrophobic, it feels like asphalt. The water literally cannot soak into the ground. So instead of absorbing the rainwater, just seeps on the top, leading to massive surface runoff and severe erosion, while any moisture left deep inside just starts to disappear.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about canopy fires and ground fires. There is a big difference. Now, a good fact is that not all fires affect the soil the same way. High intensity canopy, all leaves and little sticks of the tree, the upper part of the tree, fires are the ones that with lots of flame move fast through the tops of the trees. But surprisingly, they don't always cause a lot of damage to the earth. Why? Because the strong winds usually move fires through the leaves high above the ground, so it doesn't have enough time to get into the floor. The real problem with the dirt comes from slow moving fires, ground fires that linger close to the dirt for a really long time. In a healthy forest, there are different layers of organic items on the surface. Starting a slow ground fire cooks the air like an oven, right? Burning that protected cover completely away and destroying the soil, which can create chemical reactions that stop plants from growing back. Even worse, the Stanford article states that severe wildfires trip chemical changes where the extreme heat changes in organic materials, basically non-living materials like rocks, changing metals into dangerous pieces of that move through the environment, ended up in the air or nearby water. This converts naturally harmless elements like chromium 3 into a highly toxic carcinogenic form of chromium 6. Okay, in conclusion, without heavy soil or plants to hold the environment together, the next big disaster hits during the rainy season. Loose soil, toxic heavy metals, and cancerogenic ash get straight down to the creeks and reservoirs. This runoff ruins water quality and threatens the drinking water supplies that communities rely on. So yeah, wildfires do not just destroy what is visible on the ground, they mess up the microscopic biology, chemistry, and structure of our earth. If we want to protect our forests, prevent devastating erosion, and secure our clean drinking water, we have to start caring about the living world below our feet. Thanks for watching.